Right, we're at the Aloes today. Happy's here getting kitted. Say hello, Happy.
Hello, sir.
Don't talk to me, you must talk to the camera. We're going to be going through the boxes today, hopefully doing a bit of brood chamber management, just clearing out some honey. There's Matt behind me, he's joining us today as well. We've got a good group of guys, a lot of hands. Gavin, you can see he's the one that does all the work. His overalls are nice and dirty. Either that or he doesn't know how to wash it, one of the two. Let's take a walk down here and have a look at these bees quickly. These guys can get kitted, they can get started. So when you look around, it really doesn't look like there's much for a bee here. It's really dry, but I can hear the hum. It's beautiful, there's just this hum in the air. And as we come here, this is how bees should be working. This is what we want to be seeing. Look at this. And look at those socks. It's red socks upon red socks upon red socks. So this is beautiful. And these bees look so nice and calm, and they're just going about their business. So we're going to get into them shortly, and it's going to change quite a bit once we start opening these boxes. But it's a really nice time to get into them. They're just before their first brood hatch. So those of you that have done my course will know when I explain about how the first brood cycles start in your spring pickup. This is equivalent to a spring build-up now. It's not spring, obviously, we're in the middle of winter, but we're sitting now at almost the end of June. These are the earlier aloes, and yet these bees are going into a spring. So we should be seeing signs in these boxes of that spring build-up, of that vigor to get going. That's what we want to be seeing today, and then we want to be just giving them space. So we're going to be adding supers where necessary. We might be equalizing a few boxes here and there, and then we're also going to be taking note of how strong some of them are, and if we anticipate them being too strong, those are the ones we're going to mark to do the splits. Previous video that I did with the queens, there was anticipation for the splits, so we're going to now mark the boxes that we're anticipating the brood to be hatching out in the next week, and then we'll be pulling off those splits probably in about 7 to 10 days from now, just depending on the weather. So that's it. It's so nice to get a little bit of encouragement as we in the middle of winter, and then yet you come to a site like this and your bees are just looking amazing. So we've got them all in pairs here, two, going right the way along, and there's some more behind me this way. So I'll video us getting started as we get into a couple of them, but I anticipate the bees getting a little bit upset with us. So we'll persevere what we can with the camera, and then we're going to have to get on and get the work done. We've also got another site that we're getting to. These guys are all standing here waiting for me, clearly. So if the boss isn't working, then nobody works. So let's get into it. Right, we're going to start with these two here. You can see them working really nicely. So you'll see we have two hives standing next to each other. They're tied together, they're strapped with steel straps. This is all just to help us with badgers, or prevent damage from badgers. So before we even touch these boxes, we're going to smoke them both. So Gavin's going to smoke one side, I'm going to smoke the other, so that both hives know that we're coming into them. Otherwise we end up upsetting the one while we're busy with the other.
Yeah, because the other side are actually prepped and better.
Yes, okay, fine. Good. To the back of the hive. So let's have a look here. Okay, open this one for us, Gavin. Let's have a look what we're looking at here. Nice. Matt, you can stand this side now. Welcome to. So we count immediately frames of bees to see how they're progressing. Lovely pollen socks. That's what we want to be seeing. So I can see immediately this is an empty frame. I'll pull that out. And pull that out for us, Gavin. Okay, we're going to probably get that out of the way. We just want to see their expansion. So these are not very honey bound, so this is looking really nice. Look at there's a bit of wet nectar, a bit of old granulated honey, but lots of nectar coming in. You see all the heads in the cells, you can see the little spots of red pollen, a couple of little spots, so we know that they expanding. So now I'm looking for where their brood starts. It's going to be my next sign I'm looking for. This is not eggs yet. Lots of pollen. Look at that beautiful pollen. See the aloe pollen just coming in. It's the best nutrition we can have for our bees. So you can pull that one for us, Kevin. So this to me looks like brood. If I look at it, yeah, there's larvae in there, and this is laid up right full of eggs. So again, I talk about this when your bees' heads are in the cells. You can see the ring of where the heads are in the cells, and these bees' heads are not in the cells. So I know immediately that this is my brood laid up. So this is the first brood that's been laid up. This is all still eggs in here. It's going to be difficult to see in the camera. These are only about 5-6 frames of bees, so you can take these out for us, Kevin. Yeah, this is quite a smaller colony, but that queen is nice and vigorous. She's laying very well, so I'm happy about that. They don't have a lot of cap brood, so they've just started their first brood cycle. That's a rubbish frame, so that we actually want to be moving. We're going to move that to the outside. They've got some nectar stores in there, but thankfully the queen's not laid that up yet. So we're looking at only about 3 frames of brood, I think, and nothing's even really capped yet. So they're just starting their first brood cycle, but this is all eggs laid up. So we're going to definitely try and boost these bees a bit and have a look at what the next colony looks like shortly. Lots of bees. Good, this is nice to see. So this came from this side. We try and keep their nest intact. So there we go, foundations next to their brood for expansion. They don't have a lot of brood yet, so I don't really want to separate this. These are really nice frames, so the queen can expand straight onto these combs. So we'll rather just put an extra foundation a little bit further away, because these are brand new combs from this last season, all drawn out with beautiful foundation sheets as a base. So absolutely nothing wrong with the queen going onto that, and then this gives them buys us some time. We'll chuck another strip in here. I want the nest to progress towards the center there to help share the heat. So we're going to close these girls up now, and then we're going to open the one that we expect to be a bit stronger. So you'll notice on the front of these boxes we've color coded them. This was when we did our inspections before the aloes, just to assess them and to see how strong these bees are, so that we sort of knew what we were in for. So this is definitely, look at them hanging in the lid. This is what we talk about. They need a super. Bees are hanging in the lid like this. They need a super. So, but they are a box of bees, and I see Gavin left some grass in there for them after the last inspection. But I can see bees on 9 out of the 10 frames, so they were marked as a stronger box. So let's have a look what's going on in here. Again, we're going to look for where the brood starts. No brood on there, also quite a rubbish frame. So put that to the side, outside the box here for now. Just glance for your queen, obviously, when you do that. And just pull this one for me. I want to just see what that looks like. So when you find a rubbish frame like that, we immediately go in and we look. It's also a rubbish frame. Okay, so potentially one of these are coming out. So leave it next to the box here. Let's get through these bees. It's a much nicer looking comb. This was probably a catch swarm. This wasn't built out from the full sheet. No eggs, no brood yet. So yeah, leave that in the box. That's it. Pull the next one for us. Again, just assessing for where the brood starts. I want to see if we've got some cap brood, at least a little bit. So you can pass that frame to me. This will be their old brood nest that they sort of came here with. They're just busy capping first bit of brood, and then it is rimmed with larvae. I don't actually see a lot of eggs in here, so let's just see if we pull another frame, Gavin. I just want to make sure we've got eggs. The other side's a little bit better. No eggs in the drone cells yet. But you can see the pollen, the red in the cells in between.
Yeah,
You got eggs.
but not really. Yeah, on the inside there's still a lot of red pollen.
Yeah, we try not to expose them this long normally. These bees are healthy, no sign of capensis, and I expect this frame to be right fully laid up with eggs. Yeah, it is. It's right fully laid up here with eggs. But no, they're good. Okay, so you've obviously assessed it. Where does this frame go? In here.
Yeah.
Okay, and then where's their brood?
I'm pretty sure it's on this side.
Not a lot of cap brood though, am I correct?
Yeah.
So it's perfect though. It's a good time to get in. Sure. Just lots of bees hanging here as well. Good box of bees. You can give me that smoker, please. Just want to stop these bees crawling over here. So it's basically these three frames in the middle.
Yeah.
It's about what they're all running. Just because there were a box of bees and they were hanging quite thick in the lid. So this will just give them some extra space. On the aloes, it's important to just keep giving space. Otherwise, it's so quick that they want to look at swarming on us. I've so created a bit of a frenzy. A lot of bees flying around, but they're not aggressive. They're not bumping us. They're not trying to sting. This is exactly what I was saying a bit earlier as well. We time it that your bees at a certain time on the new flow, they're burning resources to bring that nutrition in, and they using that nutrition to raise the next brood cycle or the first brood cycle. And when we catch them at this point, they're generally not very strong swarms yet. They're still in the building up phase, and it's a very good time to actually get into them and to get this kind of work done. Let's do maybe two more, and then we'll do maybe two more, and then we need to get on and get into these bees a bit quicker. I don't like them being quite so flighty like this. It just disrupts them too much. So again, I've got a blue tag here. What's the color on that other side?
Blue tag.
Also, so we've got two strong boxes next to each other here. So these we won't be able to do much equalizing with. It's fine like that because we'll just add supers if we need. Bring me a smoker. Thank you. Let's crack this lid and have a look. They're not bunching in my lid, so I wouldn't super them unless we count a lot of brood. They are a box of bees though. I can see they are covering 10 frames of bees, so they might need a super. We'll have a look now at what the brood looks like. This I will leave you. Fine. So I'd always smoke the bees on the tops of the frames just to get them down. If we start pulling frames without doing that, they're inclined to come up and be a little bit more defensive. So looking down in between the frames, I've got bees, the whole box full. And I can see immediately there's heads in the cells here, but not so much in the middle. All open. I don't see cap brood to the top bars. So I'm anticipating that those queens are also just expanding this brood nest. Let's have a look. It's actually a very nice comb that's just sitting on the end here. These bees are still cold. Look how they're sitting still. Absolutely still. So they're still trying to warm up. This box, if I look at it, the shade is literally just lifting off of them. So they're absolutely cold. They're hardly moving here. And these bees are still warming up for the day. But it's in the middle of the brood nest, you notice. So that's how they maintain the temperature. The sides of the box gets quite cold. But the middle where the brood is, it's nice and warm. So the queen still moves around. She still lays on these stronger swarms. And these bees are literally just sitting here holding the fort so that she can go about her business. And just maintaining that high temperature. And as we dig in, we'll start to get some more lively bees. Lots of old honey, a little bit of sugary honey is what I'm seeing here. It's going a bit sugary in the cells. It's not capped, so I'm not worried about it. The bees will move that. They'll either fetch a bit of water, dissolve it, or they're going to chuck it out because there's so much fresh nectar coming in. But as long as there's not a lot of capped honey, that's what I'm specifically looking for now this morning. I don't want to be seeing a lot of capped honey. If there was, we'd be pulling that out. But we've tried to make sure that that isn't the case leading up to this, so that these bees have got the space to expand onto. Very important on the aloes, they expand incredibly fast. I'm expecting, here's our queen here. Yeah. So I was expecting to find eggs on this frame just by the way the bees are acting. There she is moving along, very nice queen still. Beautiful queen, still fairly young, nice to see. So I'm expecting eggs. If there isn't eggs, she's about to lay in this. That's why she's sitting here. I'll just put her back so we know she's safe. But I didn't see eggs there. There's a lot of bees on the frame, but I didn't want to move them too much. Okay, she gets a little bit agitated there, so let's pull the next one. Not much capped brood coming through, but that's what we expected. When we bring these bees in, they really aren't maintaining a very strong brood nest. So now that I know where my queen is, I can happily move bees so that I can look properly inside. And I'm expecting eggs, and yet you can see how the bees have cleared this all. There's no nectar in here, but again, not quite seeing eggs. So it's like the bees are just feeding this queen up, making space for her to lay, but we're just not quite there. But it's good, they've got the space they need. That's the most important. Look at that, look how the bees sit in a circle around there. This is what I talk about. So this is where you would find eggs or larvae normally. Interesting, I'm not seeing anything here. I would be so concerned that they're queenless if you hadn't seen her. There's some on this side, not much though, so she's literally just starting to lay. So it's a box of bees, but not a lot of brood in these boxes. So we made the right call not moving them with supers on, I would say, definitely. That's a really nice frame. So all these combs in here are fine, Gavin. I want to just check this side, just to make sure, but we did our homework on the previous honey flows, giving them the space. Beautiful combs, look at this. So as we start to rotate these through, I mean, we hardly have to do anything here. These bees are a box of beautiful combs, all drawn out beautifully. There's space which they're going to fill up down here with drone comb, and that's what we'll start to see in about 3 weeks from now when this first brood hatches out. Good, I'm not going to super these, there's not enough reason to. Okay, let's open the next one. Smoke that one happy. We use these cumbersome steel straps just because of the jolly badgers. Check the lid. Those are a bit up in the lid, so we might consider giving these a super. Let's move a bit closer here.
There's the queen.
Got the queen on the lid. So this often happens when we smoke a box prior. So when we smoke a box prior to opening them, your queen moves up. You've got to be very careful. It's one of the things we're very careful about when we pull the lid off. So often your queen will come up to get out the way of that smoke. And especially when you're not using excluders, she moves up into your honey supers as well. So we work a bit differently come that time. We're going to treat her very gently, keep her in front of the hive and keep your feet away from the board. I want to keep her on the lid, then we can go about our business in the box, and I know I can actually move through them without the risk of hurting my queen. Lots of cold bees, good comb for that queen to move and lay onto. Lots of cold bees. These bees are still cold this morning. And if I see bees coming up like that, I like to just keep their heads down. We know where our queen is now, it's fine, but in a normal case, I don't want my queen crawling up and out of my box. I like to keep her within the box. So just going through. I've said it before and I'm saying it again now. When you start to pick up a pattern in your apiary, you can be pretty sure it's what you're going to find the rest of the day, especially when your bees are well balanced like this. So you're finding the same thing. No brood, Bees are just making space for her to start laying. And when she does, there's that opening again. So this is what the bees are clearing for her to start laying. She might have already started, and she also hasn't. So very interesting that these bees are just starting to do that. I'm not going to dig any deeper into this nest. All I'm going to look for now is to make sure that their combs on the other side are still viable. Yeah, it's a nice looking comb, packed with aloe pollen. Eh?
There's a bit of capped root there.
Yeah.
On that frame.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, we haven't seen this capped root on this other side, so maybe the brood nest is sitting a bit off, which makes sense because this is so packed with pollen. You see all this red pollen inside here, absolutely packed. So lots of pollen coming in. Well, it's not quite packed. In a few weeks time we'll see what packed looks like. These bees are getting a bit ticked off now, but I just want to have a look at that brood where Gavin says he saw it. Yeah, there is a little bit, check that. So brood nest is sitting a bit off center in this box. Shows you the importance of actually going through it properly. But this is rimmed with eggs, we've got rimmed with pollen. Not a lot of wet nectar in here. They must be drinking it up as fast as it's coming in. Keeping in mind that this particular box is sitting in the sun, so they, sitting in the shade compared to those in the sun. So they start working a bit later in the day. That frame comes on this side, right?
Yep.
Perfect. Let's close them up. I think these are, want to be optimistic and put a super on, Gavin, because they don't have a lot of space.
Yeah.
Might be jumping the gun a little bit, but it just buys us some time. Our queen there.
Yeah.
Perfect. So what I try and do is I don't like to bump a queen off, so I'd rather grab her. I'm very gentle with her, but I just hold her by the wings. I place her in between the frames and she immediately goes down. Normally goes down. Come on, queen. Come on, queen. Did you see how she can't fly? It tells me that she's fat, ready to start laying. Let's add a super there. Stuff. We'll strap them up for us, guys. So everything's looking really good here. It's what we're wanting to see. Nutrition's coming in. Bees are expanding. They're moving forward. Not a lot of capped brood yet, but they're just starting out on that first brood cycle, which is pretty much what I anticipated. And as I say, we wanted to get in and give them space if they're honey bound from the previous honey flow, which none of these have been so far. This was that colony that was working so nicely when we came up here earlier, that I was showing you the pollen that came in. So let's have a look what they look like inside. Nice box of bees. Look at that. It's fine, we'll have a look at that. Nice. How they're building. These bees are actually hanging to build. See how they hang like this? These bees are building. There's a bit of new white comb that they're building, so this is really nice to see. So yeah, on the strip. So we're going to take that out. I'm feeling these bees are going to be building. They were working first this morning when we came in. And look how they're drawing out this foundation. So this is what it starts to look like when we come back to it. We're drawing that out. Just starting on that side. So we're going to move this comb over. We give the queen this to think about. No brood on that, I can see. So we'll just have a look here, just to see where their brood starts. That is full of larvae. This swarm is going to explode. That is not even eggs. This is really nice to see. You see the white larvae in there. Beautiful. So look here, they are building, hanging to build. This is how they should be. Aloes, nice. Nice. We bought these bees at perfect timing. You can see foundation that they previously put in. This was put in just before they moved here. They're busy drawing it out. Just starting to draw it out. So we're going to shift this over as well, pushing these old frames out. We're going to shift this in. We're going to drop in 2 new sheets next to them. So they're maintaining their 4 frames of brood in the middle here. It's really nice to see. 2 sheets happy. Thank you. Nice. Awesome. Fantastic. Nice to see. Let's give them a super because they are quite strong. We're giving them a lot of work in the bottom here, so as that brood hatches now, there's cap brood in the middle. When that emerges, we're going to have them right at the right time. And this is what it's like working bees on the aloes. And these bees have still been nice to us today. Gets a lot worse than this. Goes up here. So we're going to have a quick look at the other one on the other side. This one we marked as a little bit smaller. So we're just going to make sure that the queen is viable. Everything's looking good in there. Smokers are needing a bit of a refill. Look at those bees streaming back into their hive, and in between them all you see is streams and streams of pollen. So even though we cause a bit of mayhem, they settle down rather quickly. They want to get on and do the work. There's enough food for them to be wanting to work. Yes, yeah, I see that. So this is also expanding really nicely. You probably find these bees are sitting right where they're getting the first morning sun, so they're ahead of some of the others. Amazing what that does to just maintain hive temperature. So here you've already put a sheet in prior. They're not expanding onto it yet on this side, so I'm not going to go much further into here. All that I might change around is this was a really nice comb, and this one I see was built off of a strip. It's not a bad looking frame, but I would rather give them this comb to expand onto in the place of that one. Just a little bit of shuffling around in here. It's more my OCD that kicks in than really what's necessary. Let's have a quick look, see if we find their brood. See how sticky this propolis is. This box is definitely warmer in general.
Yo, that is like bubble gum, man.
Yeah. Very nice new brood on new comb. On this side I can see is laid up with capped brood, so these bees are looking good. This is a really nice little unit. Some good brood there. Laid up with eggs around, all age of larvae. So this is laid right up with eggs in here. Beautiful to see. So I'm happy with this. They're a little bit off center for me, but this can be just due to sharing warmth of that other box, so I'm okay with that for now. We're going to leave them as they are. No need to change anything in this unit. They're not strong enough for a super, so all we're checking is that we've got a viable queen, which we do. She's showing vigor, and we can close them up. See you ladies next time.